Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is ULLY. If this is your first time, then welcome, and if it's not, then welcome back. And welcome to another Ask ULLY episode. So in this sort of series, I basically just answer specific questions that you guys have sent me or asked me in comments about sort of my personal experience, about eczema, skin, and just kind of like health in general. So these videos are super unscripted, they're very just like kind of conversational, and obviously everything is from my own personal experience. I'm not a medical professional. So the next question on my list that somebody sent me is, do I have cheat days? And my answer is yes, all the time. Except I don't call them cheat days, I just call them life. But I think I should probably elaborate here. So obviously at the moment I'm kind of in like a different phase of my healing journey. My skin is pretty much, it's almost completely gone now, apart from, you know, every now and again if I sort of let myself go a bit, then it does kind of come back, but I'm pretty good at sort of bringing it back to a good state again. But when I was kind of like in the throes of my eczema, I suppose, when I was super focused on healing and being very precise with my diet, I was very, very careful. I was very strict with the food I ate. I didn't really have sort of designated cheat days, but what I did, and this wasn't intentional, was because I was on such a stupidly restrictive diet and some kind of raw vegan diet. I was really strict with myself during the week, and then by the weekends I was usually so hungry and so malnourished that I was like craving loads of food. So I'd end up sort of like having these like binge days on nothing like unhealthy. I would never eat like processed food, like that kind of thing, because after a while your kind of taste buds change and you end up not craving these things anymore. But I would sort of end up overeating on things like nuts and sort of fruit bars and these kind of things. And if you eat loads and loads and loads of those, sorry, then it's really, really hard on your digestion, and it would definitely not only make my, I don't know if it made my skin so bad, but it made my stomach terrible, and it was really, really horrible. So when I kind of started relaxing a bit more, I ended up not having so many of these binge days, because obviously I wasn't, you know, I wasn't craving them. I didn't feel like I needed them. My body wasn't like screaming out for nutrition in the same way. But when it came to sort of like special occasions and these kind of things, if I'm totally honest, I didn't really, I was so intent on sort of getting better, and again my mindset was always like it's a matter of time. So for me, being able to say no to something in that moment wasn't so difficult, because maybe that's just how I am. But my advice to somebody else, if this is something that, you know, you find that, you know, you're on this very like kind of, it's a different diet, definitely different. Like if you've gone from like a normal diet to like a plant-based, very, very healthy, very nutrient dense diet, it's different. And you might find that you crave all the things that you used to have. And I think that rather than saying to yourself, oh, I'm going to have a cheat day, I would just say to yourself, like, maybe have little bits of it here and there, depending on what it is. I wouldn't recommend having things like processed meats. I wouldn't really recommend having things like alcohol. I certainly did at the beginning, and I know every single time I did took me back to square one. But I think, again, it's not the poison, it's the dose. That's, you know, what they always say. If you have a little bit of something, it's not going to make or break your diet or, you know, your healing journey, if that's what you're doing. But if you have an entire day where it's just full of all this stuff, then you definitely will sort of take yourself back. You will definitely sort of hinder yourself on these, on your journey. But I think also you have to be very careful about frequency. You know, if you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to have a little bit of this, and you end up having it sort of like every single day, or, I mean, it depends how much it is. If you only have like a small piece of chocolate every single day, of course that's going to be fine. But I mean, like, there's difference between having that and having like a hamburger every single day, which I don't think is going to be good for you. So I think, you know, you've just got to use a little bit of judgment, a little bit of common sense. And I think if you find that, you know, you need a little bit of whatever it is that you usually have just to kind of satisfy a craving, just to make sure you don't binge on it, then I think that you just need to be sort of, you know, wary about, like, if it really is sort of making a difference with your skin, if you sort of actively start noticing that you're flaring up or you're breaking out, like these kind of things, then maybe sort of wind down on it a little bit and see how your skin does with that. But I think the whole restriction mentality is really, really unhealthy. So you need to figure out a way of making the way that you're eating, the way that you're living, very enjoyable and something that you like doing, so you don't feel the need to constantly be going back to all these things that aren't necessarily going to be very good for you or very good for your healing journey, if that makes sense. So maybe do a little bit of research, go, you know, look up some there's lots of sort of plant-based recipes that are really good for you. There's lots of really nice, healthier alternatives to things that you love. I never feel like I'm sort of lacking in anything at the moment. I really, really don't. And maybe that is because I do let myself have it, which is, like I said, it's important to let yourself do that every now and again. But overall, in general, sort of 90 to 95% of my diet is very healthy, and it's not because I'm sort of restricting in any way. It's because I want to eat in this way. I like eating in this way, and that's kind of what you need to find for yourselves, and it'll be different for every single person. But really sort of make an effort, and you'll find that once you get into it, once your taste buds have changed, once you sort of start reaping all the benefits of living in a certain way, you really won't even feel the need to go back and have these like cheat days. You really won't. And yeah, so I think that's kind of what I want to say on that topic. I hope that made sense. If there's anything else you wanted to ask me on this topic, if anything wasn't unclear, obviously leave a question in the comments below, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Bye!